Okay, get this. Can an AI learn to master a really complex video game just by dreaming about it? I mean, not by playing the actual game, but by training completely inside its own private hallucinated version of that game. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? Well, it's not. It's a real breakthrough in AI research. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. We're diving deep into a really cool paper called World Models. It's all about how an AI can build an internal model of its world that's so powerful it can basically learn new skills entirely inside its own imagination. And the wildest part is that this whole idea, it's actually based on something that's happening inside your head right this very second. It's called a mental model. See, our brains don't process every single photon of light or every single sound wave from the world around us. That would be completely overwhelming. Instead, they build a simplified, predictive model of the world. Yeah, this classic comic just nails the idea. When you're riding a bike, you're not sitting there calculating the physics of balance and momentum in real time. Of course not. You're acting based on your brain's internal learned model of how a bike works, how gravity feels, and how the road behaves. You're reacting to the idea of the world, not the raw, messy data. As the systems scientist J. Wright Forrester put it, we all operate on these simplified models. They're what help us filter out all the noise, focus on what's truly important, and make pretty good guesses about what's going to happen next. And it's this exact concept that researchers decided to apply to their AI. All right, so how will you actually build something like that for an AI? Let's pop the hood and see what's inside. It's actually made of three key parts that work together and that kind of mimic that whole process of seeing, predicting, and then acting that goes on in our own minds. Okay, first up, you've got V, the vision model. You can just think of this as the AI's eye. Its one and only job is to look at a super high-res game screen and squish all of that visual data down into a tiny abstract code, just a small handful of numbers that capture the essence of what it's seeing. And this is where it gets really cool. Take a look. On the left, you've got the actual game screen, all crisp and clear. But on the right, that's the image that's been rebuilt from that tiny compressed code. It's blurry, it's low detail, but look closer. It has everything that matters. Where the car is, the fact that the grass is on the side, the general curve of the road ahead. See? It doesn't need a perfect photograph. It just needs the gist, the absolute essence of what's going on. This huge compression is the very first step to building an efficient internal model. Next in line is M, the memory model. I like to call this one the oracle. It's the part that predicts the future. It takes that compressed vision from the eye. It looks at the action the agent is about to take, say, turn left, and then it predicts what the next compressed vision is probably going to look like. It's learning the cause and effect of the world. And finally, there's C, the controller. This is the pilot. And here's the real kicker. This part is incredibly, incredibly simple. It does almost no heavy thinking at all. It just looks at the current vision from the eye and the predicted future from the oracle. And based on that, it chooses an action. That's it. And this chart, wow, this really tells the whole story. Just look at the complexity here. The vision and memory models, that's the world model that perceives and predicts. They have almost 5 million parameters combined. They do all the hard work. The controller, the little pilot that actually makes the decisions, has less than 1,000. All the intelligence is in understanding the world, not in the action itself. So theory is great, but does this whole setup actually work? Well, the researchers put it to the test in this top-down racing game. The goal seems simple enough. Just drive smoothly on tracks that are randomly generated every time. But for an AI, that's actually a pretty tough challenge. So to really prove how important that oracle part was, they ran a little experiment. First, they let the agent drive using only its vision, just its sense of the present moment. Then they switched on the memory model, giving it both a sense of the present and a prediction of what was about to happen next. And the result? Well, with only a view of the present, the agent was okay. It could drive, but it was purely reactive. Kind of wobbly, a bit erratic, and it would often spin out if a sharp turn came up too fast. The score it got was decent, but it was nowhere near mastering the game. But then, look what happens when you give that simple little controller access to the memory model's predictions. The performance just skyrockets. You can see it right here in the table. The full world model agent smashes it with a score of 906, blowing past not just the handicapped version, but other state-of-the-art AI methods too. In that score, 906 isn't just a high number. You see, any score over 900 was considered solving this particular game environment.
So this agent didn't just do well. It became the very first known solution to this challenge, all thanks to its predictive world model. And that massive success led to an even crazier, more mind-bending question. If the AI's internal model is such a good simulation of the real game, do we even need the real game anymore? I mean, could the agent learn to play entirely inside its own hallucination? So they tried it, this time in the game Viz Doom. First, they collected a little bit of data from the real game just to train the vision and memory models on what the world looks like and how it behaves. But then they did something completely radical. They totally unplugged the AI from the actual game. They created a virtual dream environment powered only by that memory model, and they trained the agent's controller from scratch, entirely inside this fake world. And this is what that dream world looks like. It's this blurry, surreal version of the game, generated frame by the AI's own predictive model. The agent is literally learning how to dodge fireballs that are just figments of its own digital imagination. It's practicing inside its own head. And the most incredible part? It worked. The strategy, the policy, the skills the agent learned exclusively within its own dream, they transferred successfully back to the real game. It could navigate the level and dodge real fireballs based on skills it picked up while fighting imaginary ones.
Okay, so this is way more than just a cool experiment or a neat party trick. This whole world model approach, it has some pretty profound implications for the future of AI. This is a potential game changer for a few key reasons. First, efficiency. Training an AI in a tiny, compressed dream world is thousands of times faster and cheaper than running some massive, graphics-heavy simulation. Second, it's just a smarter way to build intelligence. You separate the really hard problem of understanding the world from the much, much simpler problem of picking an action. And finally, and maybe this is the most important one, this is a huge step towards giving AI a real form of imagination, the ability to plan and test out ideas internally before ever having to take a risk in the real world.
This research really opens up a whole new frontier. It's moving us away from agents that just react to the world and towards agents that can actually understand, predict, and, well, imagine it. It leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to chew on. If an AI can have an imagination, what will it dream of next?